And from one female firebrand to the next, we're joined right now by my dear friend, one of my favorites. She returns to the show again, Martha Boneta, conservative activist, policy advisor, and chairman of Vote America First. Martha, how are you, darling?
How are you? I miss you guys. I'm so happy to be back on the show, and I'm just so thankful that you keep doing what you're doing because you have a huge following.
Thank you, dear. We are doing it, and I was just recounting to our audience how sometimes I get lucky because I get to meet one person like you who then believes in me and then introduces me to some of the other great guests we've had on our show, and that's why we're like a family here. You're always there for us.
We very much are. It is definitely a family.
So, Martha, we just played a little clip of Kimberly from last night. She really came out firing on all cylinders, all red tight dress and everything else. Stark contrast to the way the Democrats came out of the box with Bernie Sanders, 80-year-old white man.
Absolutely. You know, Kimberly Guilfoyle is a brilliant, accomplished woman. She was a prosecutor. She's an attorney. She's a mother. And she really speaks to the hearts and minds of so many women. I love her passion and her fire. You know, this is somebody who loves our country and loves our country so much. You could hear it in her voice. You know, when I heard her speak, I could feel the passion in her voice, the love for our country. And, you know, what she was telling the American people is that there is so much at stake in this election. Our very freedom, everything we love about the American dream and how important it is to keep the American dream alive.
Yeah.
And so...
I'm sorry, Martha, but right on that point, I don't want to miss that because you're talking about our freedoms. But right here in New York, I don't know if you follow them, but I mean, they are trying to snatch freedom from us, you know, one crumb at a time, honestly, and they think we don't notice. We had a big rally in New York City the other day. We had a big rally, Frankie and I and Scott Lebedo, a big conservative artist, David Burke, the restaurateur. We had like 1,000 people there. But you flew into New York, and you feel like Governor Cuomo's violating your privacy just to get in here.
Yes, so I flew into New York and I received a notice from United Airlines telling us, advising all of the passengers on this flight, that in order for us to come to New York, we had to complete paperwork from the governor that required all kinds of personal information about us, our date of birth, where we live, what we were doing in the city, the purpose of our trip, where we were staying. And if we did not complete all of this information to be entered into the database, we would potentially have a $2,000 fine and be forced to quarantine in New York City for 2 weeks away from our family, our jobs, our friends, and our responsibilities. So given that option, everybody, for the most part, completed these forms. In response to the form, I received a permission slip to enter New York City from the governor that says that that Martha Boneta is not currently subject to quarantine. And I have to carry this around with me at all times so that I can show it for when the brown shirts ask for it. I also had to present it at my hotel. But it makes me think of communist China.
Of course.
I mean, I think the supreme leader, Kim Jong-un from North Korea, is very proud of our governor in New York that's requiring all of this personal information, because the truth of the matter is anybody could lie on this form online and get this permission slip printed out. You know, there's no medical test. There's nothing like that. There's no temperature taken. It's just whatever you want to enter.
It's a sham. It's a sham. It's all a sham. It's information collection. It's like, you know, it's like when you're in school. Could I get the bathroom pass?
That's exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like they're trying to put us back in time to where we have to get their permission to do things that are guaranteed to us under the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. We don't need your permission. It's like someone else showed me this, Martha. How much time we have left in this segment, Jess? Martha, we have 2 minutes left, but can you stay with us? I have an open segment.
Yes,
can you stay with us for one more segment, and then we can get into all the great places you've been? We got some other clips from last night. I want to play them, and then me and you will riff a little bit on, you know, what points they hit good. But on this issue, it's basically like a hall pass. Like you got to ask the teacher if you can go to New York.
I mean, it's a violation of privacy. As American citizens, we don't have to get permission to go anywhere in the country, and we don't have to say what we're doing in New York City. Whether I was coming to New York to do media about the GOP convention, or to come and have dinner with friends, or go shopping, whatever my purpose is for coming here, whether it was business related or personal, I don't have to give that information. And this actually requires it. And it requires a lot of personal information that is really a violation of our privacy as American citizens.
I hate it. I hate it. Now, one thing there, when you went through the whole list of things you might be doing other than business, maybe, going to dinner or lunch or media.
Yes.
The main thing you should always say is, if you're going to New York, what are you going to New York for, Martha? Oh, I'm going to have a liquid lunch with Johnny Tobacco and Frank
Liquid
Morano.
lunch with Johnny
that's
Tobacco.
the best thing you could say. Right off the bat, they're like, wow, what is that?
Right. Well, right now I'm in the studio right across from Smith and Walensky, and guess what? It's closed. It's closed.
I know. It's horrible. I know
Yes.
it. Martha, I'm in my living room. I'm broadcasting from my living room. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Hey, at least we're still speaking to America, which is important. But no, the things that between the governor and the mayor we have here, we have not had a more anti-American dynamic duo ever that I could remember. They are literally treating New York City in particular is being treated like a concentration camp almost within even the state. But all right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this with the lovely, talented, and huge Trump supporter, chairman of Vote America First, Martha Boneta, right after this.